I am a young man preparing to brave the perpetual terrors of this earth. I better check the internet for how to life.
Okay, the iron is already hot. I'm going to press it so that this part gets to looking good, and then I'm going to concentrate on the part here where the buttons go.
Golly J. Willikers, I'm learning so much.
I'm going to put the heat and the steam on that to try to capture it. Move my hand over a little bit, get another batch of them.
Wow, these videos are so informative. I better check the channel to see if there's any other life-changing lessons to be learnt.
Here are 10 questions that I feel an atheist needs to...
Well, fuck. Welp, I guess it's that time again, isn't it? Ladies and gentlefish, I would like to introduce you to Gunnel Percher, or as I like to call him, Pantsman, being that his most popular video has to do with ironing pants, one of the most epic tasks of all fucking time. Next to that of mowing the lawn or cleaning the bathroom. I mean, holy shit, is this man amazing. Now, besides ironing pants, our Lego-haired Avenger here likes to challenge secularists on the net, or at least atheists, as it seems. His 3 most popular videos are How to Iron Pants, 10 Questions Every Atheist Must Answer, and, last but certainly not least, How to Iron a Shirt Attic. I don't know what's up with these weird fucking phrasings. Today, we are going to forego his 2 epic classics about ironing and address his second most popular video, 10 Questions Every Atheist Must Answer. I, being an atheist, must heed the call of Pantsman and answer his 10 inquiries to the best of my ability. Now, without further ado, let's roll. Also, yes, I'll admit, I'm a huge condescending prick.
Here are 10 questions that I feel an atheist needs to answer if they're going to be consistent in what they believe.
Hold it! Oh, Pantsman, please enlighten me. I've been a very bad bitch. I didn't know I had to answer several inquiries and fill out a fucking Scantron before I could lack a belief in a god or gods.
In doing so, if you wish to respond, please respond by dealing with arguments. Don't attack people and just try to discredit people because you don't want what they have to say to be.
Objection! Oh, Pantsman, I never want to hurt you, but I must argue that if somebody is full of shit, they deserve 1 or 2 a little bit of ad hominem here and there. Also, it's up to people how they respond. Now, in your particular stipulations, you might not want people being asshats, but you never know. If you want to have discourse, especially in an informal setting such as the internet, you gotta let that go. This is coming from a person who time and time again throughout his life, thanks to personal circumstances and growing up without stability and having to move around, I can tell you, you will have a much more, not necessarily better, but a much more interesting experience in life if you drop your personal parameters at some point and experience life just in the clear and near. I have had to drop my personal niches, my personal boundaries, how I go about things. I've had to drop it, and you know what? When I talk to people without any, stipulations or preconceptual thing to have the conversation, if I drop all that and just have a conversation or just have an experience, it was a lot more fulfilling to me. The conversation was a lot more fulfilling to me, or the experience was. I didn't have a bunch of setup. I didn't have to say, well, you gotta act like this, because I'm more comfortable with people who act like that. No. I didn't have the option. You seem like you do with your video, but I'm telling you, with setting up that stipulation, it's not going to be, you might not get as many, or you might not even get a single stimulating conversation, because most people, more often than not, since it's such an most people, more often than not, since it's such an informal setting, aren't going to give a fuck to go through your red tape, to go through your little things. And I know it's minor stuff. It may be minor to you and just little things, but some people like the way they are. They like to curse. They like particular things about their personality. And when you create stipulations to cut those assets out in order for you to talk, they might as well just not talk to you. I have seen that happen before. I've seen people just shut each other out because neither side wants to drop personal niches of theirs. If you want to be on YouTube and you want to communicate with people, you gotta just let all that go. You just gotta talk. That is all you have to do, and you will have more engaging experiences and more fulfilling experiences. At least I did. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy.
Heard by other people. Also, as you go through this, I'd like you to take it seriously, because really, if you don't have good answers to these questions, perhaps your belief as an atheist is based on blind faith.
Objection!
Listen, Pansy. Can I call you Pansy? I'm going to call you Pansy. I went on a whole tangent just a minute ago about it, so I won't retread old ground, but what I will say is, it seems like you're trying to get a particular answer here, as you just said.
As you go through this, I'd like you to take it seriously.
And that's not necessarily fair. It's not because atheism is based on blind faith. It is because people have a particular way of speaking. And I know with a dialogue, you don't necessarily have to drop all of your standards, but dropping most of them would help. Both parties don't have to bring their particular niches to the table. They can just talk like humans. You don't have to have a big damn setup to have a discussion. And it's not necessarily the other person is wrong or they agree with your point of view or whatever. You don't get the high ground just because they don't structure an answer how you want it. That's not how this works. If they don't want to meet your stipulations, or they don't want to meet how you want them to present the answer, it's not necessarily because you're right or whatever is going on in your head. It's because they want to express themselves how they would like to it's because they want to express themselves how they would like to express themselves, and that more often than not is the case in and of itself. And what does good answers constitute as? That seems kind of subjective. I think if the answer, as long as it isn't just, hey, fuck you, man, and your religion, I think it's a good, well enough response, because you're addressing an entire group of people. Atheists are not like religious people. Atheism as a whole isn't a whole, and I know that's mind-blowing, and a lot of people like to say it's a religion. It's not. It is a lack of belief in a god or gods. That's it. Fuck atheism. Plus, fuck the Westboroughs. Yay. Fuck the Westboroughs, and fuck any idiot who says it is. It's kind of annoying to me, just as a side tangent, when people try to set up atheism as a thing, because it's easier to attack a case that has been presented than something. A lot of people can't grasp this around their mind, because the way basic logic is set up and the way debate is set up is when anybody responds to something, it's tangible, like an assertion, an argument, and a positive claim. It's something to attack. Atheism as a whole is not something tangible. So Christians being unable to wrap their minds around the concept of atheism provide tangibility to it because they want something to attack, and they're butthurt and mad that there's nothing tangible to attack. Some fucking idiots, atheism plus, like to add tangibility to it because they don't like God and are basically religious. That is atheism plus. They are a religion. They are a particular religion. They are a sect of atheism, quote unquote, which, again, I don't really consider them atheists because they're just a bunch of religious people who don't like God for whatever fucking reason. They are the false atheists because they act religious. They go to atheist churches. They do everything a religious person would do sans God. So, excluding atheism plus in that crowd of retards, basically atheism is a lack of a belief in a god or gods. That is it, nothing else.
Question number 1. If there is no God, why is there anything at all? This is another angle on where did the universe come from without a creator. If you want to say, well, the Big Bang, great. I go for Big Bang. But God lit the fuse.
Objection!
You got me, Pantsman. The Big Bang has nothing to do with atheism. It's irrelevant. Again, let's go back to atheism plus, and any fuckhead who likes to associate that with atheism, because a lot of atheists formulate their lack of belief in a god or gods. Like, they look at evidence. Evidence. I'm not saying it's evident, like, fucking, when I say evidence, people think, oh, it's evidence for lack of God. No, like, there are things that can be classified as evidence that can be used as a case, but evidence in itself isn't really for or against anything on its own. Like, the Big Bang happening is evidence of the Big Bang happening, or it's evidence for something. It happened. I mean, the theory is, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, so I don't really want to go into it. I'm not an expert on it, but it is a thing, it is a theory, it is an idea out there. However, it has fuck of all to do with atheism. Atheism, in essence, is just a lack of belief in a god or gods, and thus saying Big Bang, you would have to address a scientist. A scientist who is an expert in that field. I would assume, I might be wrong, but I would assume it would be some kind of astrological scientist that would deal with that. Atheists in general wouldn't fucking know, or at least actual atheists, not atheism plus or any fundies. Fundies are not real atheists because they add substance to something that is not substance. Atheism is the opposite of theism. Theism is the substance, atheism is the not. And that sounds depressing, but that's true. People are like, oh, you believe in nothing? It's like, technically, yeah, it's not that I believe in nothing, it's that I just don't believe in that particular thing. There are atheists who believe in the supernatural. Being an atheist, all the connotation, all it has to do with is just not believing in a god or gods, because that is all it has to deal with. Just theists, being a theist classified as that is that you believe in a god or god. There needs to be an opposite to that. I see a lot of people trying to change atheism, giving it shit. I mean, there has to be a fucking word for it, so what do you want to call it? What do you want to call it for somebody like me who does not... Because I've seen people like Gene Man and Christians all across the board add shit to atheism. You can do that, fine, whatever. You're going to do it anyways. No, every time somebody tries to stop them and correct them, they put their thumb up their ass and their head at the same time and say, no, atheism is this. So I concede on it. I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck do you want to call me? Because I don't meet any of those other stipulations. You can't tell me what I feel or believe. So what the fuck do you want to call it for somebody who just does not believe in a god or gods? Because that is me. If that's not atheism, fine. You can steal the word like a little asshole you are, the little butthurt baby who wants to add substance to something so they can knock it down. If I'm not an atheist because of all this other shit, then what am I? What do you want to call it? The chicken dancer? Mr. Googa? What? What fucking word would you call me? That's not an ad hominem. Fucking pick one. I don't really care. Whatever you want to call it, I'm that. That is all that describes me. And that's the definition of atheism. So, fucking pick a word. I don't give a shit. That's it. The general populi that atheism describes, that's their shtick. That is all that is it. Excluding the minority, which, again, Atheism Plus and the Atheist Fundies are a minority. The overall general people who identify as atheist or agnostic or whatever just do not believe in a god or gods. That is it. So, do with that what you will. So, basically, I know I only have like one video, but normally, because I only have one video, I finish the video or whatever, or I finish the argument, but basically the rest of his questions can be answered in the same way. There's nothing new I can add without overstepping my boundaries of intelligence. Basically, my answer that I just gave for that particular question can be applied to the other 9. If you want to go, I will link in the description. If you want to go tackle those questions, be my guest, but I'm not a scientist, nor they're probably atheist scientists, but atheists as a whole. If you are an atheist, you're not automatically a scientist. So, all of his questions are questions for scientific atheists, like Thunderfoot and co., or just any general scientist who happens to want to participate in the whole grandiose debate between theists and atheists. And I just wanted to take this time to express, I kind of touched on it a little bit just now with that response to the question, but basically, I don't know, I feel like I should take a minute to talk to you all, whoever's watching. And I rambled about it, and I'm going to go into it more. I do see a lot of Christians, a lot of people apply things to atheism. And my theory as to why that is, and I saw this with a video I actually saw on the Armored Skeptics channel way back when. He was responding to like this podcast of this guy, and this guy was applying all this stuff to atheism. And basically the skeptic responded, or Armored Skeptic responded, saying that's for that type of atheist. But atheism as a whole, anybody who just says I'm an atheist and nothing else, that the only thing you can apply to them truly without being a disingenuous cunt, unless they say I'm a materialistic atheist or I'm super atheist plus or whatever the fuck. If they're like me and they just say I'm atheist, the number one thing you can apply to that person, if all they say is I'm atheist, the number one thing you can apply without being a disingenuous cunt, and I'm calling people cunts because it pisses me off when they do this, because I hate having shit applied to me that doesn't apply. I am in charge of my beliefs. I'm in charge of my opinions. It's one of my many pet peeves, which is why I'm a little bit more angry in this video than the last one. When you apply shit to me or people that doesn't need to be applied, or they themselves did not apply optional stuff like belief and whatnot, it pisses me off to no end when Christians or theists in general do this. They try to add all these things to atheism, and they're doing that because in the debate world and the logic world, it's easier to knock down in a positive case, because a positive case is the foundation for any, or not any, but for most, any basically, except there are a few exceptions, but for most arguments, it starts with a positive claim and assertion. So these theists, these Christians, these whatever, they try to craft atheism into a tangible state. They try to craft atheism into a positive claim of sorts, like the guy I talked about with Armored Skeptic, or G-Man, or this guy. He's applying all these things that don't really apply, unless he's atheist and blah, or unless, I say he, but if the person you're addressing, if they don't have anything else but atheism, please don't apply, don't do what this guy's doing. Don't do what G-Man's doing. Don't do what any Christian who's full of themselves do. And G-Man's a nice person, but I do really think he's full of himself, and any Christian like him. Atheism is not all these other things. Quit trying to apply shit to it so you have something to knock down. If the atheists add something to themselves, like materialistic atheists are their whole worldview, they lack a belief in a god or gods, and they're basically about materialism, matter, the scientific principles of matter and material and basic stuff, just relevancy, etc., etc. There's those type of atheists. But the majority of atheists and the general populi, all they have to them, and what pisses a lot of people off because they can't address it because it's nothing, all they have to them, like me, is that they lack a belief in a god or gods. That is it. Please quit adding shit. It's annoying. Unless the atheists themselves adds it to their forte of belief, leave them the fuck alone.